episode of Classic Dallas Cowboys Talk with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Let's not waste no more time. Let's get right to it. Okay. So, I was thinking about this the other day. Some of the, a few of the best return men in Cowboys history, okay? And, I was thinking about that, and, I would probably have to say some of the best return men in history were Bullet Bob Hayes. Kelvin Martin was an excellent return man. And Reggie Swinton was pretty good. Deion Sanders was an excellent return man. Dez Bryant at the start of his career, he was a good return man. Dwayne Harris was solid as a return man for the Cowboys. Ryan Switzer, the short time he was in Dallas, he was a good return man. And I believe Kobe Easley was a return man for a little bit for the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, out of all of those, I would probably say Bob Hayes was probably the best. Bob Hayes was probably the best and the fastest. And not only was he a excellent return man, he was also a pretty excellent receiver. Hall of Fame. Okay. I can remember when Kelvin Martin, the punt return he had against the Philadelphia Eagles in 1991 at Veterans Stadium, that put the Cowboys into the 1991 playoffs. Okay. That, yeah. Remember that. He also had a punt return versus the Washington Redskins on opening night of the 1992 season. And he had one against the Rams that same season too. And not only that, he also tied Bob Hayes' record for return touchdowns during the Rams game. So Kelvin Martin was pretty good. Reggie Swinton was pretty good too. Reggie Swinton returned a few kickoffs for touchdowns. I remember the one he had against Philadelphia. It was a 100-yard touchdown return. Yeah, it was a 100-yard touchdown return he had against Philadelphia, I believe in 2001. Let's see. Dez Bryant, early on in his career with the Cowboys. He had a return touchdown versus the New York Giants on Monday night. And then he had one against the Bears as well. Yeah. Yeah, so he had one against the Bears that season, his rookie year. Then he had one on Monday night versus the Giants. And then from there, he transitioned out of that into the beast of a receiver he became for the Cowboys. Yeah, so those are some of the best return men in Cowboys history. We already know what Deion Sanders could do. Y'all know what Deion Sanders could do. So yeah. Something else I want to talk about. I think us Cowboys fan base, I think we took Tony Romo for granted, myself included. Okay, I think we took Tony Romo for granted. I think he was underrated. Tony Romo was underrated. Despite the fact he drove us nuts with some of his interceptions. Despite the fact he drove us insane with some of his interceptions he threw. Like the one he threw right to Darrelle Revis on opening night of 2011. I still remember that. Oh, what was he thinking? What was Tony Romo thinking? He threw it straight to Darrelle Revis that game. What was he thinking? Yeah. Tony Romo drove us nuts with his interceptions in critical times. But still, we saw what our team was when he wasn't there. I'm pretty sure every Cowboy fan, we remember 2015, the year 2015. We saw what our offense looked like when he was not around. I remember 2015 so well. So every Cowboy fan remembers 2015. You saw what we looked like without Tony Romo. You saw what our offense was. We couldn't score. Shoot. Our defense kept us in most of the games, in most of our close games. Our defense kept us in most of the games. Our offense just couldn't do nothing. So, and I think the best meme that I saw was when Tony Romo was injured. Somebody had a meme where the fans were shouting, hey Romo, please come back, get well soon. And so then Tony Romo was in a sling and he's saying to the fans, oh, so now y'all appreciate me, huh? Yeah, man, we took Tony Romo for granted, and it showed during 2015. You saw how our offense looked without Tony Romo. So you saw how our offense looked without Dak Prescott. Okay, when he got injured in 2020, you saw how our offense looked without Dak Prescott. So yeah, I think we took him for granted. We took Tony Romo for granted. It seemed like by 2014, it just seemed like by the year 2014, he had everything figured out. It just seemed like Tony Romo really had everything figured out. I remember watching the 2014 season, which is one of my favorite seasons of all time. It just seemed like Tony Romo had everything figured out. It just seemed like he had the game of football figured out. And just as he had the game of football figured out, he got injured. And he got injured again. And then we eventually transitioned into Dak Prescott. But about the time he was figuring out the game of football and the game of football was becoming easier for Tony Romo, he got injured. And that pretty much ended his career too. And it's just unfortunate, man. Because it's unfortunate that his career had to end like that. We were blessed to transition right into Dak Prescott. So yeah. You saw how our offense looked when Romo got injured in 2010. Okay. Then you saw how our offense looked in 2015. And so, but yeah. Romo drove us nuts with his interceptions, but he was still underrated. He was still underrated, and he was pretty damn good his own self. So we took him for granted. All right, that's it, and that's all for Classic Dallas Cowboys Talk with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. I'm out of here. Peace out, y'all. God bless. How about them Cowboys?